I don't know how it happens that the music is always perfect for the moment, even when it's planned weeks in advance. So, Kenny, you're a genius. What can I say?
Oh, no.
I know, he says.
I'm just channeling you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Greater Dayton. I'm Reverend C.C. Coltrane. If you're with us for the first time, a special welcome to you, and thanks for sharing your morning with us. On your bulletin cover, there is a little tear-off strip where you can give us your contact information so we can keep you updated as to what's happening around here. And if you want to fill that out, you can just take it over to the Welcome Center at the end of the service, and they will give you more information about us, answer any questions you might have, etc. Our pulpit assistant this morning is Linda Andriaco. There she is. Our vigil holder is Lenza Smith. And our interfaith candle lighting will be done by Judy Nossmacher and Becky Victor, who is not singing, but is going to participate in our candle lighting today. So thank you, Becky. All of these ladies are licensed prayer practitioners. We'll talk a little bit more about them at the end of the service, but thank you all for being here and holding the high consciousness for us. We always take a few minutes at this point in the service to greet each other, even though people are still walking in and waking up and rubbing the sleep out of their eyes and getting here. We don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, so if you're not a hugger, that's absolutely okay. Just stay in your seat or put out your hand for a handshake. Otherwise, you will be hugged. I can promise you that. You will be. When we kind of wrap that up, when you hear the music start again, come back and sing with us. Our opening song is I Am Opening, and the lyrics are right here in your bulletin. So let's greet each other, and then we'll come back and sing.
We light this candle in honor of Judaism. We shall beat our swords into plowshares, and our spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. But we shall sit under everyone under our vine and under our fig tree, and no one shall make us afraid. We light this candle in honor of Confucianism. The ancients who wished to illustrate illustrious virtue throughout the kingdom first ordered well into their own states. Wishing to order well their states, they first regulated their families. Wishing to regulate their families, they first cultivated their persons. Wishing to cultivate their persons, they first rectified their hearts. Wishing to rectify their hearts, they first sought to be sincere in their thoughts. We light this candle in honor of Buddhism. When we realize that the world is a mutual, interdependent, cooperative enterprise, that human beings are all mutual friends in the process of birth, suffering, old age, and death, then we can build a noble, even a heavenly environment. We light this candle in honor of Islam. Cloak yourself in 1,000 ways, and still I shall know you, my beloved. Veil yourself with every enchantment, and yet I shall feel your presence most dear, close and intimate. I find your face in ivy that climbs, in clusters of grapes, in morning sun on the mountains, in the clear arch of the sky. You gladden the whole earth and make every heart great. You are the breathing of the world. We light this candle in honor of Christianity. This is the message that ye heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. Let us not only love in the word, nor in tongue, but in deed and in truth. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear. We light this candle in honor of Taoism. Returning to the source is serenity. If you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. When you realize where you come from, you naturally become tolerant, disinterested, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. We light the final candle in honor of the first people. O Great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds, I ask for wisdom and strength, not to be superior to my brothers, but to be able to fight my greatest enemy, myself. Make my hands respect the things you have made, and make my ears sharp, so I may hear your voice.
Good morning, everyone. Today's reading is from Ernest Holmes. How often we condemn when we should forgive. How often censor when we might praise. What untold grief of heart might be relieved by words of cheer and forgiveness. Remembering that the Spirit holds no evil toward man and that God is love, we should emulate this divine lesson and forgive all, that our hearts may be free from the burden of our own condemnation. Let's take these words into the silence for a couple moments, please. God is in, through, among, and around every single person here, every person in this entire world. God is love and kindness and forgiveness. We are part of this love. We are part of this community, this world. We are all one together. We are love. We are peace. We are calmness. I am thankful for everyone who has shown up this morning. I am thankful for everyone who is not here but can still receive our words. I am thankful for the music ministry, Reverend Cece, and everyone who is in service. And I say thank you, and so it is.
So this month, our topic is forgiveness and loving kindness. And because I was at a practitioner retreat with many of our practitioners and a bunch of other practitioners from around the region this weekend, I wrote my talk last week, and then Philando Castile was killed and Dallas happened, and I had to start over. So I still want to talk about forgiveness, but I need to take a little bit of a different slant on it. Last week we talked about the fact that forgiveness is a spiritual practice that requires an enormous amount of courage. It's not what we're taught to do in our culture, and it requires us to look within ourselves where deeper forgiveness lies, and forgiveness is maybe more difficult and more important now than it's been in a long time. We have more and more and more people, black people, being arrested for minor violations and winding up dead. For missing taillights or selling cigarettes, or one of the most horrible, using the wrong tone of voice. Regardless of why you think that happens, what your opinion about that is, the numbers say that it's 2.5 more times likely to happen to black men than to white men or Hispanic men. As we've done in the past, when injustice has become obvious to us, people take to the streets to protest, right? Martin Luther King taught us that, and Mahatma Gandhi taught us that. And they taught us that peaceful protests can change things. And then someone with a rage comes in with a rifle, and Dallas happened. And what do we do with that besides just feel the pain? The whole country is in pain right now, and it's understandable pain. It's awful pain. It hurts. Seems like it'll never end some days. Seems like we didn't hear Dr. Martin Luther King when he said, hate can never drive out hate. Only love can do that. It's easy to get caught up in the madness of pain and rage and revenge, and it's easy to look for someone to blame for what's happening. It's easy to blame racism, overt and covert. Does it exist? It does. But it's not the only thing going on here. And sometimes, for some people, it's easy to blame the victims for what they did or didn't do. But blaming only makes the pain last longer. It doesn't solve anything. It doesn't change anything. So at some point, we have to listen to what Martin Luther King told us to do and return to a place of love. We have to return to a place where we forgive everyone, and take action from that place. Because I think that's what's going to save the world. I don't think anything else will. I don't think that as long as we're trapped by our unforgiveness, anything we do still has that barb of blame to it. Because I think forgiveness is the only thing that ever lets us free ourselves from what is past and ready to move forward. It's not forgive and forget. That's not it at all. It's forgive and move forward. It's forgive and move forward. It is feel the pain and move forward. It is understand each other better and move forward together. We have to learn. We have to learn from this stuff that's going on. We have to learn from it, and then we have to relieve ourselves of whatever burden we carry so that we can use the energy that's freed up to reach out to each other and move forward. You know, that's what the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in commissions in South Africa were all about. They heard each other's pain. They heard it. They acknowledged it. They forgave each other. And they moved on to create something different. People had a chance to be heard and then to forgive. You might be thinking, how can we forgive those policemen? How can we forgive policemen for shooting a guy in front of his 4-year-old kid? How can we forgive that? And how can we forgive someone who kills a 13-year-old boy in a park? How can we forgive Micah Johnson for coming in and killing 5 police officers? Here's what I think are the real questions. How do we understand why people do things like that? And how can we address those things instead of withholding our forgiveness? Because I don't think anybody in their right minds ever sets out to hurt someone else purposely. I don't think anybody in your right mind says, I think I'm going to go mess with someone today just for the sake of messing with him. No one who is in touch with who they really are could ever do that, right? You can't do that when you're living from your own love. How do people get so out of touch with who they are? How do people not know any of that? Well, you know, we've created this culture. We collectively have created it, where we've pitted police and criminals against each other, and police and anybody who isn't doing what they think they ought to be doing as the enemy. We created a culture that teaches police they're at war with the public, and they're trained for 100 hours in how to shoot their weapons and only 6 or 8 in how to reconcile things and de-escalate them peacefully. Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe the constant fear and pressure of being black and young and male in this country causes some people to act without forethought. Maybe we're all just so wrapped up in our own lives that we have stopped reaching across the divides. toward each other. I don't know all the whys, but what I do know that there's a truth about every single one of us. That we are children of the one Creator. That we are precious beyond words. That we are beautiful and innocent and pure. At our very center, there's a place within every single one of us that's never been soiled or hurt or damaged in any way. And so many of us don't realize that about ourselves. We just don't realize it. Sometimes our own pain and our own limited skills and our own conditioning allows us to act in ways that are very much unlike that pure essence of God. That's why Maya Angelou wrote, "I did then what I knew how to do. When I knew better, I did better." Isn't that true about all of us, whether we're parenting, or policing, or protesting, or just living our lives? The more we know, the better we do. This is not an excuse. I am not asking you to say, oh, those police did the best they could, it's all right. That's not it at all. The devastation and the pain are very, very real. I'm not suggesting we just say, that sniper must have been in a lot of pain. That's not at all what I mean. What I mean is if we, as members of our culture, don't get down to some real deep forgiveness, some real deep reconciliation, if we don't make reconciliation our way of life, the spiral of violence and hatred and racism and anger just continues to grow, right? It just gets bigger. And if we don't forgive and then take action, not the other way around, nothing will change. And I want it to change. I think we all do. Our job becomes to remember that innocence, that perfection that is at the heart of all people. And to remember that when our eyes are clear, we see the face of God wherever we look, right? It's to remember that. It's to act from there instead of from our pain. So our founder, Ernest Holmes, said, he reminded us that our job is to remember the truth. He said, to desert the truth in the hour of need is to prove that we do not know the truth. When things look the worst, that is the supreme moment to demonstrate to ourselves that there are no obstructions to the operation of truth. Our job becomes to do the work inside of ourselves, so that instead of reacting with more fear and more hatred and more anger, we respond with compassion and kindness. Our job is to remember that every time we have something to forgive out there, we also have something to forgive in here. It's to remember that every single one of us is always expanding. And that every single time we do that inner work of forgiveness, we do it not just for ourselves, but for as many people as we can encompass in our consciousness. It's to help us it is for us to reduce the victimization in all the ways we can. Every one of us. When we fail to forgive, we victimize ourselves, not the other. It's not the other person who suffers from our righteous anger. It's ourselves. Think about somebody you hold a grudge against. Do you wake up in the middle of the night and start plotting revenge? How's that working for you? Does that feel good? Of course it doesn't. It doesn't feel good. Refusal to forgive imprisons every single one of us. But forgiveness will take us out of that prison. Everything we refuse to forgive out there adds to our burden of unforgiveness in here. And here's the thing, whenever what we don't forgive rises up in our minds, we get put right back in that place of pain and anger. But when we've done the forgiveness and that person or situation rises up, what we know is we've forgiven. Changes us completely. Changes us completely. Our side of the street is clean, so to speak. See, forgiveness is about us. not the other person. It's about freeing ourselves to be all the beauty and joy and kindness and compassion and love we came here to be. What if the person doesn't show any remorse? It isn't about them, it's about you. It's about being able to choose the actions you want to take. Maybe you want to approach your local police department and say, I'd like to talk to you about having more training in how to de-escalate things and less training in how to shoot weapons. If you do that calmly and easily, they're much more likely to get listened to than if you say, I want to talk to you about all of the violence that your department is perpetrating. Do you see what I mean? When you go in with that attitude of forgiveness, you don't deny that you feel pain. I can't deny the pain I feel. None of us can. But if we place forgiveness and reconciliation within our own selves and let the person walk free in our own minds, what we remember is that. And that's what we act from. How can I be sure he or she won't hurt me again? Well, we do have to have boundaries. I loved my addicted and alcoholic nephew very much, but I didn't let him live in my house. You know, we do have to have boundaries. We have to say, here's what I will do and here's what I won't. We never forget what was done. We just don't let what was done live in our minds in such a way that it takes all of our energy just to keep going. And what we're gaining from forgiveness is inner peace. It's a gift to yourself and it's a gift to your world. It lets you move on. It's that simple. And it's a daily and a long-term practice because we all screw up all the time. Then we know better. Then we do better. It has to become part of our everyday lives because without it, we're torn apart. We're torn apart by this stuff. We will never, none of us, be perfect. Can we make things better? Yes, if we're doing it from consciousness and love. It's never going to be a permanent state that our world is perfect. There's always something else to learn. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, who was a great teacher of Jewish mysticism, said, we're not obliged to be perfect for once and for all, but only to rise again and again and again above the level of the self, with a small s, the self. It's only by working beyond that level that we make meaningful changes in our world. It's only by reaching out with our hearts instead of with our egos that we actually connect with other people and start making these changes that so sorely need to be made. The pain is real. It hurts when we know that people are dying, whether they have black skin or blue uniforms or they're gay or lesbian or whoever they are. It hurts when anyone is treated that way. It hurts when anyone is treated as though they're less than. It hurts when anyone suffers. The pain is real. And beyond the pain is the truth that we're always at choice with what to do about our suffering. Pain is not optional. Suffering is. Once we know, we can choose. Then we can choose to hold the pain against someone, forgetting the innocence that's underneath whatever there is. Or we can find a way to have our experience be what it is, release it, forgive, and move forward, and act from love. I know which one I want to choose for myself. I know what I think is better for the world. I don't know that, but I do know that Martin Luther King was right. Hate cannot drive out hate. Revenge cannot drive out revenge. Only love can drive out hate, and only forgiveness can drive out revenge. I ran across something yesterday I want to close with. It was a posting on Facebook, which is an amazing place. I'll tell you, some days it will just push every nerve you've got, and other times it soothes the heart. This was a post by a young black woman, and she was writing about walking into a convenience store, and there were 2 white policemen in there talking to the clerk, and she walked in, the conversation stopped. She was doing her shopping, and one of the policemen walked up and said, "How you doing?" She said, "Okay." And the cop said, "How you really doing?" She said, "I'm tired." And he said, "Me too. Guess it's not easy being either one of us right now, is it?" And then he put his arms around her. And hugged her. She said, "I never saw him before. I don't know why he was moved to talk to me. What I do know is that I shared a moment this morning with someone that was beautiful. There were no judgments. There were no justifications. There were just two people sharing a moment." That's what I want to do. I want to choose to share the moment with love. And I want to invite you to do the same. I want to choose to approach the situation with forgiveness. Not with forgetting, but with forgiveness. And I want to invite you to do the same. I want to choose to see the innocence that lies under the other stuff and move toward it with extra kindness, more hugs. I want to take the actions that will help us all move in the direction of love. Because that's the way we heal the world. We don't do it any other way. So I invite you to join me in that notion of opening our hearts to the innocence in each other and moving forward from a place of willingness to forgive. And now if you'll just join me in a moment of conscious, aware togetherness. I invite you to move to that place of innocence within yourself, that place at the very center of your being where nothing has ever touched it. It is the God place within you, a place of bliss and joy, of peace, of connection, the clear place of love. It is in that place within each one of us that the divine dwells. That is where the creator of all that exists has breathed into us and breathed us into life. It is that place within each one of us that allows us to look, as the poet said, into a cluster of grapes and see the face of God, into the face of our neighbor and see the face of God. It is that innocent place within each one of us that is the place of unity. It is where we are all one in God. And from that place, I know for each one of us and for our world, that love reigns, that love begins to grow, to burgeon, to lead us into our next step and the step after that, to guide us to those places where we put away our weapons and turn toward each other with open hearts. I know that that place within each one of us leads us to find reconciliation, to demand the actions that will lead to that reconciliation, and to do so from a place of love. I know that that place within each one of us informs us mightily, reminding us that we are all the place God shows up in the world. We are the hearts and the hands and the voices and the feet and the bodies of spirit. So as we act, the world changes. As we love, the world sweetens. As we forgive, the light in the world increases. How grateful I am to know this. How grateful I am to be in this community of light and love, of willingness to be different. How grateful I am for life itself. Thank you, God. I release these words knowing that the universe has already said yes to me, as it always says yes to us. Whatever we ask, the universe says, "Yes, my beloved." So I simply know that it is already unfolding in love and in light, and in perfection and innocence. And knowing this, we say together, and so it is.
I am just a thread, a simple thread in this glorious web of life. and all the infinite one.
Amen and amen. So we now have an opportunity to give in support of our community's work to allow us to be all that we came here to be in this community, in this world. And giving is also an opportunity for us to step into that flow of abundant life. When we give from that place of fullness and love, we're saying yes to living more abundantly. And when we stop to give from gratitude, when we stop to remember the miracle of life, then our gift accomplishes miracles and returns to us multiplied. So I just invite you to move into that place of gratitude. Remember all that you are blessed with, those you love, the place you live, all the miracles in your life. And know with me, my heart is open.
My heart is open.
I give with an open heart.
I give with an open heart.
I know that as I give, I am given to.
I know that as I give, I am given to.
And I am grateful.
And I am grateful.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Wonderful. Thank you, thank you. Oh, goodness. A couple of quick announcements, then I'll go have a cup of coffee. You will notice in your bulletin a reminder to save the date for our 70th anniversary celebration. Saturday, September 24th will feature Spiritual Saturday with our licensed prayer practitioners. You can come and walk a modified labyrinth, receive prayer, learn about affirmations, do vision boards, all kinds of stuff. So that will be Saturday afternoon. And then on Sunday the 25th, our whole movement's community spiritual leader, Reverend Dr. Ken Gordon, will be here with us to speak at Sunday service, and then join us for an elegant brunch. There will be an RSVP required for the brunch. There's no cost, but we need to know how many of you are coming. So watch your mail for a postcard in the next couple of weeks. And mark your calendar now for those 2 days. Please take a look at the last page of the bulletin insert and the extra flyer in your program for all the things that are coming up. It says hot summer fun, all kinds of things on there. And women, be sure you mark your calendar for this workshop next month, August 6th, with Cynthia James. Her book, which is the purchase of the book is the price of admission to the workshop. Her book's available in the bookstore. It's not eligible for the 25% off sale that's going on, but it's also not very expensive. And join us for that workshop. It'll be a powerhouse. She's an amazing woman. The social team will be meeting right after service at 12:15 in the community room. And Kelly O'Keefe is going to come tell you what they're meeting about. Where did she go? Oh, there she is. And Gary. Oh, yeah, they told me they were going to tag team, but not throw anything. They promised not to throw anything.
Okay, I will be good. Okay, yeah.
I gotta keep in line, that's fine.
Okay, well here's the deal. What is one way to beat the summer heat? Any ideas?
Water.
Canoe? Well, she gave it away. She saw the test answer. Ice cream, popsicle, lemonade, swimming, sprinkler. How about canoeing? Next Saturday. Here's the deal. Next Saturday, we're having a rowing adventure in the Little Miami River. Beautiful stretch of river. We're very fortunate to have it here in our area. The destination is Bellbrook Rental Canoe, or did I say it?
Bellbrook
Canoe Rental. I had it backwards. In any event, it used to be Feist. It's just located just east of downtown Bellbrook. This is going to start at 9:30 next Saturday morning. It's about a 5-mile hike. It's not 52, so don't worry about that. This is not competitive, so you don't have to worry about, do I need to keep up? Very relaxed, beautiful setting. We're going to have a picnic afterward. There's a sign-up sheet on the bulletin board, so feel free to sign up. Feel free to invite a friend or a relative, neighbor. So, Kelly, did I miss anything? And it's a great deal. $10 per person. Amazing. Anything else you want to add?
Thank you, Gary. So in order for us to get this deal, which is $10 a person per canoe, $15 kayak, we have to have at least 10 people. So I hope you guys can help us out with that. And it's important to sign the sheet because if something happens we need to cancel, we want to let you know. You're not committing yourselves by signing up. We'll also cancel it on Meetup and Facebook if there's a thunderstorm. And if you just want to go for the picnic, you don't have to. The picnic will be at Bellbrook Canoe. You could just show up, bring a dish around noon. You don't have to canoe or kayak or anything. And then also that same day, at 4, we're going to meet at the Phrase Pavilion for Swamp Romp. If you haven't been there, it's a free festival, Zydeco music, food, drinks. And the meeting today at 12:15, the Social Green Team is the group that's giving you all this stuff. So we want to plan, who's doing what for the picnic, make sure we got it together. And then Kathy, she's just left, but she wants to do a Dayton Dragons outing. So we want to get all our details for that. So hopefully you can join us 12:15 or at least on Saturday. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Good job, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly and Gary. You're pretty good there, Gary.
Keep it real.
Don't forget to join us in the Consciousness Cafe after service for food and fellowship. There's Dorothy Lane bread, fresh cherries, which are really good for you. So go grab some cherries and greet your fellows. And today I want to recognize somebody who I think is still here. Carol Boyer. It is. She is still here. Carol is a long-term member of our community. No. This is from the Leadership Council. And she has been in service in countless ways forever. So thank you on behalf of everybody in the community. She is currently, she's wonderful. She currently heads up our Hugs team, our Holy Ushers and Greeters team. So Carol is fabulous and just a big open heart. So thank you again, Carol. If there is some area in your life that you could benefit by some prayer, you can walk up to any